Hey Axis and Allies players, a good captain here, and welcome to Russia's Round 8, or the tail end of Russia's Round 8 in this game of Axis and Allies 1914 that I'm playing against a human opponent, out of box, no bid. So, yeah, he, again, not totally certain if the Russian Revolution rule is complex and convoluted, and just giving up your capital is not intuitive. And I think it was probably the best move to make, but he chose counterattack and sent me the file for order a loss. He's in a +9 hour time zone, so from where I am. So I'm gonna. I left him a note about 10 hours ago that I was gonna pick casualties if I didn't hear from him. Just because there's nothing left for the Russian turn. So we can quickly review this and then roll it in real time and see what damage we do back to him. So, when we add up his total attack firepower and divide by 6, this is a crude form of discovering the amount of hits, but it generally works well enough. It looks like 18, maybe 19 hits is what we should expect, and that's what he hit. Russians counterattack Moscow and inflict 18 casualties. So we will select 5 German and 13 Austrian infantry. That's what I declared 10 hours ago when I responded via axisandallies.org. And just to get an idea, so it's just interesting. When the Germans initially went in here, they attacked uphill, that is at a severe disadvantage, and managed to break even. Now the Russians are attacking uphill because the Austrians have reinforced the Germans to a significant degree. So let's find out what our expected hits are. And it looks like our expected hits are 31, so that's 13 more pieces than we lose. So it's interesting to sort of speculate on this situation. I mean, if you were the Russian player and you wanted a revolution rather than to risk losing having the enemy take your capital, if you thought them having your capital and all your territories was worse than having a revolution, you would not attack here. You would sweeten the pot, so to speak. Maybe smash Karelia, and then in fact, that's what you would do if the Russian player wanted a revolution right now, like wanted to incentivize a revolution for whatever reason. He should blow out Karelia and not fight, create a contested zone in Moscow, thereby putting it to the mauled Germans and the underprepared Austrians to decide whether they want to have another bloody attack or not. So this move already, in my mind, is a bid towards, it moves the scale. I feel more inclined to just rip Russia apart, depending on how good or bad this next roll is. Sevastopol is a big key in my decision-making process at this point. I don't know what I'll advertise when it comes to my videos, but I do at this point like Sevastopol being red or otherwise under Allied control, because you could take it or leave it, right? I mean, I can pick this up later, or in Kazakhstan, of course, you don't want them, when you're pre-capture Russian capital, you want these two territories, in my opinion, to be under Allied control. You want them red. And you can decide to capture them after the capital falls, or if you decide to take the Russian Revolution, you want these to be blocked off so that the British can't come up here. Vienna is so far away, even it's only 3 spaces. India is only 2 spaces away, so it's actually easier for the British to have access to Sevastopol, and the breaking point is around, between Ukraine and Sevastopol, in my experience. So. But it being red, and if you don't take the revolution, it being red is good because it's dead income. The British can camp out here all day long if you decide to capture the capital and capture Karelia and all the other territories. the British can be here and not collect that 3 IPCs. Same with the Kazakhstan, but to a much lesser degree. So I think Sevastopol being red is a point for either direction. Another point in the direction of capturing the capital, if this dice roll goes well enough, and we'll study the impact after the roll, is that we can take Karelia, the failed capture from that statistically improbable event from the previous German turn. We also will activate these minefields. If we accept the revolution, these minefields both will disappear because Russia becomes a neutral power and the minefields become inactive. That would create something like a logistics issue with Finland, although not so much. There is sort of a situation with the Germans here. If we accept the revolution and this is a contested zone, the CP have access to the territory. You can go into and out of it, so we would have access to Finland, whereas the Entente would never be allowed to come into Karelia. It's kind of a weird little rules nuance. And then a point in favor of revolution is this 2 cruisers, right? All units outside of originally Russian-controlled territories disappear if you accept the revolution. And so he didn't attack, and so it'd be nice to remove those boats, especially with, well, I guess it's kind of overkill anyway. So maybe it's not so much a point because you've got so many American fleet units down here. The Austrian Navy is not long for this world. So that's how I'm feeling right now before I roll back, and now we're going to do this roll live. There's no other combats. His purchases are already made here for infantry, and he saved 1 bizarrely, but he'll only collect 4. So the collect income, it's only 5 IPCs if we decide to go for the capital. So not a huge incentive there, but we don't have to decide right now. We'll first make our selection for casualties, and let's just zero everything out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is 8. No, whoops. Sorry, 13. Yeah, 8 and 5 makes 13, but it was 13 and 5. Da-da. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select this. The dice server is on, and let me check it one more time. Yeah, and I declared this on axisanalyze.org, so here we go. Oh my god, I nuked him. Oh, that's, I kind of feel bad. That's, well, okay. So the battle calculation was the middle of the bell curve. Good lord. Oh my god. The middle of the bell curve result, 37. That's ridiculous. The middle of the bell curve result was 31. So we rolled 6 up. He rolled par and I rolled 6 up. That's pretty, I wouldn't even call that a warm roll. I would call that a hot roll. Wow. Wow. Well, I'm a fool not to take the capital now, I think. I mean, a Russian non-combat move. Just go ahead and remove this and put the Russian back in here. Russian actual. Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's a smash. I mean, Russia's. The Germans can stomp Karelia, take it, and have a decent-sized army to maintain Finland and Karelia for the rest of the game, in position, ready to go. And the Austrian army will very easily smash the remains of the Russian army here, and then be able to, wow, just do whatever they want. Head back, posts in the southeast here. Wow. Wow. So let's I'll drop his units in. So yeah, he's got 13 units, and my attack, not on the German turn. Yeah, and I wouldn't attack on the German turn. It would be the Austrians who captured Moscow, and of course they should, and especially with Germany having all of this. Okay, yeah, okay. Just wrapped up the Russians' turn here and posted it for my opponent, so I'll click done out of this. And, yeah, uh, I think I'm going to just buy 10 infantry and an armor, because I don't need fighters, and there's about to be a bloodletting, or at least I anticipate there being a really large-scale engagement, or engagements out on the West Front now. So, yeah, 10 infantry, 1 armor, save 2. Whoops. Yeah, we're recording. Okay, done. All right, German combat move. This is where it pays to know the rules. I mean, don't get me started on the vagaries of the rule book out of box, but AAA is no help, or at least in certain situations, it's no help. So one thing you can be or should be able to do is unload a territory from a contested zone. As long as you obey the rules of movement into and out of contested zones, you can still utilize the transport. So when I move a single infantry on board this transport, which I'm just going to do, so in case my opponent checks the search history, he can see what I was trying to do here. I am restricted to what I can do with him. Since he came out of a contested zone, he can only reinforce another contested zone where there are pieces of that power, so other German pieces in other contested zones. We can land there, or we can land in a friendly zone. We cannot land in a new territory or attack a new country or territory. So the reason I do that is so I can get these fighters out of here. So I want to get these fighters out of Moscow and on their way to on their way towards the West Front. So we go to Poland. Okay, now everybody else is going to shift out of Moscow and hit Karelia. Again, you can leave a contested zone as long as there are pieces of your own power in another contested zone you want to go fight in. So I have to use the edit here. Oh, but this bloody thing. So let me undo that. Actually, have to do the edits first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so again, if my opponent checks the history, we just do things in sequence. There it is. And the units that were in Karelia are just going to stay there. Yeah, I could move them to Finland, but I don't. If I lose a piece, I don't want it to be an artillery right now. We're going to fix the lack of infantry next turn with this transport. And oh, I should say, I've decided to. I'm not accepting the Russian Revolution. I've played several games. I'm playing against 6. I've played games or am playing games against 6. Or is it 7? 1, 2, 3. No, 6 different opponents, and I'd say 3 are experienced or very experienced. 1, which is, I would say this fellow is moderately experienced, and then 2 I've played against roughly or in the area of ballpark of new players. And in the games where I've played against experienced players, I feel like I have some precedent for capturing Moscow, and I have precedent for not capturing it, and I feel like this is because of how low the piece count is and how high the piece count is, low for the Russians and high for the CP. This is a capture moment, so I've decided to deny the Russian Revolution or turn it down the offer of armistice, and so that is the end of that optional rule for the rest of the game. It happens once and then it's done. Okay, the Germans in the West Front. We're going to just send, I deliberated over this for a while, but we're just going to send 2 infantry into Holland to deny the French those IPCs. And we will push everything we have into Munich. I'm going to put 1 infantry in the rear, and I decided just to, and 1 infantry in Kiel, and then I decided to just shove everyone else into Hanover. And that's because, well, it plays out best in my head. And lastly, we're going to move all these naval assets out here and kind of start getting up in the face of the Western Allies. So then we click the cycle through, just make sure we captured all our pieces. Okay, we're done. Dice server is on, purchases made. Let's gloss this over once more. Yes, we're out of Moscow. Karelia is a stomp. And Munich is a stomp. I'm not going to run the calc. It's 100%. So, and yeah, of course I counted his French fighters. He has 7. I have 10. So there's really no issue with that there on the counterattack. And of course I've done all the math, adding in his 49 infantry for the counterattack. He only has 4 artillery for the French, so not a lot of bite. So here we go. Let's do Holland. 55% chance we kill him and we miss, and he missed us. Sorry. So battle in Karelia. Stomp. Does he hit us? No. Excellent. And then Munich. Stomp. And this is 6 or 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, so he rolled up by 1.5 kills. That makes me a little nervous, but we should be okay, even with that. Drop in our purchases and call it good. 44 IPCs. I hate that number, but okay. Yeah, oh, Holland didn't get captured, so. The last thing we do before we pass the turn is flip these mines. It's another limitation of AAA. The mines don't automatically flip. It seems like that would be something programmers could get right, but the wonderful people at AAA have different priorities than fixing a module they don't consider all too important. So I think that is it. Yeah, okay. Not much to say here. We'll start straightening up this defense. We'll bring back some artilleries and bring forward some infantries up here to sort of make this Baltic wall. The calculation on the Austro-Hungarians is 96% capture on Moscow in exchange for 6 or 7 pieces. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching this. All the best from the good captain, and bye-bye.